a big fan of Docker, and I haven't always been, but the more I become familiar with it, the easier it is to work with. However, that's not always the case, especially when some problems arise. So in this episode, we're going to look at Dockerizing our Rails application, and a lot of these steps can work with older Rails applications. For example, if you are developing on an Apple Silicon computer, and if you are maintaining a legacy application using an older version of Rails and an older version of Ruby, and if that legacy application wasn't using Docker, then you could find it difficult to maintain on the Apple Silicon. However, with using Docker, you can mitigate a lot of those issues. So we are going to be using a Rails 8 application in this case, but a lot of the same ideas can be used on older Rails applications as well. And I've done that many times in the past, where I had a Rails 5 application that needed to be supported, even in the Apple Silicon days. And so trying to get the version of Ruby that we were using on that application up and running was difficult. We had already moved over to the Apple Silicon hardware, so we needed to come up with a solution, and Docker would be a great fit. But I also like Docker on modern applications, simply because it provides that isolation. So I know that if something is working in my local environment, then there's going to be a greater chance of it working when it's deployed. And that's simply because any dependencies that would be in the Docker file when I'm deploying, we're also going to have in our Docker file for the development environment. And I've come across that many times when I've ran Ruby on the host machine, where maybe I had ffmpeg installed, but it wasn't being installed in the Docker container, and so we deploy, only to find out later that something was wrong. And so in this episode, we are going to be using PostgreSQL for our database with a Rails 8 application using import maps. If you are using ESBuild or something similar, that shouldn't be a problem, because we're going to copy this Docker file as our base for the development environment. And did you know that you can go to railsstore.com to get your own Ruby on Rails t-shirt or your Drift and Ruby t-shirt? To watch this full episode and more videos, visit driftandruby.com and subscribe to the Pro membership.